Meet Asana, a work management platform that helps companies get more done and save more time. Teams can stay connected while they track updates and visualize timelines. Asana, a smarter way to work. Try it for free today at asana.com.
Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Palmyra, where centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And this room and that room was so full of love yesterday as we came together with over 200 of Bev Smith's friends and family and community members to honor her life. So I want to do a special shout out to Kate and all the musicians who just did a phenomenal job. And the greeters and the chair schleppers and the program folders, we prepared for 100, and we counted, 220 programs were passed out. So it was wonderfully overwhelming. And we also want to thank Bev because one of her bequests was that donations be made to us and the Humane Society. And the family has asked that any donations that come in Bev's name go toward the lift. So the council and I decided that when the lift is in, continue to pray for that, that we're going to have a brass plaque made and dedicate it to Bev. So, yeah. So we did good yesterday, community. Well done. Well done. So, let's just take a minute to center and to ground, to let go of all of the busyness, to be fully present, to be here now. As we come together once again as community, as a beloved community, so dedicated to making a difference in the world, to being that loving presence in the world, to be open and affirming, compassionate and accepting, to be a place where everyone is loved, everyone is cared for, everyone is celebrated for who they are in all of their magnificent glory. And as always, we come together with gratitude as we say thank you for this time to come apart for a while, to remember the truth of who we are, that we are spiritual beings having an incredibly interesting human experience. We say thank you for whatever safe space you are in this morning, whether it be here in the sanctuary or joining us from home. We hope you are safe and cool on this hot summer morning. And finally, we say thank you for one another, for this incredible group of individuals who have come together to share a journey, a powerful journey, committed to making a world that works for all. And so it is. Amen. So this week and next week, we're getting in 2 more of the 12 powers of the Reel to Reels, and then in September we'll finish up the final 3, so we will have gotten all 12 powers in this year. So today is going to be the power of love, and we are using the movie Casablanca. I will say that that was one of the first movies Ken and I ever watched together when we started dating 35 years ago. So yes, and then next week, we're going to be doing the power of life. And because we are, as of this week and for the rest of the month, we are participating in the Caring Cupboard Christmas in July food drive. There is a brochure in your weekly email. Please check that because they have very specific needs. And as always, we're kind of the diaper people. So, and I mean that in the nicest way. But we do provide diapers to the Caring Cupboard. So please feel free. That's an ongoing donation that we make as a community. So next week, it's going to be It's a Wonderful Life. And we're going to be singing Christmas songs, and we might even have a Christmas tree up front. So it's going to be a fun couple of weeks as we continue our 12 powers. All right. So let's light our candle. Oh, I also want to tell you that remember last week when I messed up and we didn't snuff the candle until between the peace song and the prayer for protection? I decided that was divine order. because I liked it better. So don't freak out if you don't see me snuffing the candle until after the peace song. You see, it's like jazz. If you make a mistake, you play it again, and then it becomes jazz, right? So I actually preferred the placement when I made the mistake. So let's stand and share in our candle lighting. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to hurt, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Divine Spirit. And in honor of love, our opening song this morning is Love is My Decision. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart.
Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
And welcome back, Jody.
Yay!
It's just not the same without the chimes.
That's right.
Let's share together in our vision. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living and our mission wherever we go. We provide a welcoming community that inspires and encourages all who gather here through the teaching, sharing, and practice of universal spiritual principles. And one of the ways that we practice those, nice a hug. One of the ways that we practice those principles is to honor wherever you are in your hugging journey. So if you want to hug, we will bring it on in. If you're more comfortable with the handshake, we will honor that. And if you want us to leave you completely alone, we totally understand, and we will respect whatever bubble you create about yourself. Have a great time.
time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
I know you can hear me. I'm right here. I love us. Yeah. I'd have to, right? Okay. That's right. I think we're stuck with each other. That's how I like it. All righty. So our prayer chaplains for today are Sherry Fries and Holly Dietz, and they will be holding sacred space for us throughout the service, and they'll also be available over here in this nice quiet corner in case anyone would like one-on-one prayer after the service. So we had a good time watching Casablanca Friday night. Thank you for those of you who came out. So this Friday we will be showing on the big screen downstairs with popcorn, It's a Wonderful Life. I know. Love it. At 7 o'clock. So, and I just want to say that the air conditioning downstairs works beautifully. In fact, you might want to bring like a sweatshirt or something. Yeah. And we are going to be working on this system in the next couple weeks. Eye of the Storm, the workshop Eye of the Storm is going to be not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, the 20th. So please do sign up if you are going to be taking that. It's 9:30 to 12:30. There will be coffee, but there are a lot of handouts for that. So if you're going to sign up, if you're going to take it, please sign up so that I make sure that I have enough handouts. And then the following Saturday, we will be at Harrisburg Pride. So we're very excited about that. I think next year we're anticipating that we'll be participating in 4 Pride events. We're looking at 4, which would be Hershey, Lebanon, Harrisburg, and I'm thinking we need to go to Lidditz. My old stomping grounds. Ken and I used to live there, and it's a beautiful park, and I think I'd like for us to have a presence in Lancaster County. What do you think about that?
Very nice.
Right now, yeah, yeah. And Harold, I think it would be awful good if we did that. Or as my grandfather used to say, terrible good. That would be terrible good. I do come from a staunchly Mennonite, Pennsylvania Dutch background, people, so don't let my lack of accent fool you. All right, and Miss Sarah, would you like to come forward? Oh, guys, can we have a microphone for Sarah? I forgot the Daily Word's happening from up there. Hold on, honey, let's get you a microphone. Thank you. Did anybody else love hearing how much Bev loved Jeopardy at the service yesterday? Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, beloved community. My name is Sarah Hancock, and I'm a member of the Source of Light committee. And Source of Light is coming up in 5 weeks on August 2nd and 3rd. I know, shock. It'll be here before you know it. And I am here to officially announce that our website is open, up, and running.
Yay!
And we gave each one of you one of these flyers, and at the bottom there's a place where you can use the QR code that will take you directly to the website where you can sign up. We have all these wonderful providers. A lot of them are from our community, like Helene and Lisa and Elaine. And I'm probably forgetting some people, but this is a big fundraiser for the community, and we especially do well with the mindful medium with Reverend Doug and the sound immersion with Gwen, and that is a special. If you get both of them, it's only $40, $25 each. So we would encourage you to, if you can post your flyer somewhere, please do that. But we also have another ask of you. Since this is a community effort, we would like to invite you to become social media influencers and post the flyer on your website, on your Facebook or Instagram, or if you're on TikTok, I don't know, anywhere that you can, because the more publicity that we get, the better it will be for our community. And there are also 2 other vendors that are not on the flyer. So if you go to the website, you can search those out. And we want to say a special thanks, of course, to Gwen, who works the hardest at this. And also, this year, a special thanks to everybody on the committee, but especially to Jackie for the sign-up genie, and to Dave Fries for making that available within our website. And did I forget anything, Gwen? Okay.
Are you going to teach us how to, I don't know how to scan a QR code.
Oh, you don't? Okay, well, see me after church.
Okay.
We're going to... Hi, Bev. We're going to have a sign-up sheet for food. And the menu is actually going to be hot dogs, a hot dog bar, nachos, and something else. Reverend Stephanie and Ken will be making their vegetarian chili, so that we're going to have a vegetarian chili, and you can put hot dogs, sauerkraut, whatever you want on your hot dogs, and then nachos. So I'm going to be asking for donations, and I'll get the sign-up list. But then I believe that Tammy's going to work on a bake sale, so that we'll have a bake sale there. So just to forewarn you that that will be coming up. Thanks. We're going to have baked ziti, salad, and some kind of dessert, and wine, and cookies, and something else. I'm not reading sign language. Meatballs. And it's $15, so for $55 you have a night out, right? Okay, did I do everything now? Thank you. Drop the mic.
I just wanted to say there's also a sign-up sheet downstairs for people to assist us during the 2 days. So if you can sign up to do something, we promise we won't make it too difficult. Okay, and we have a lot of fun. Okay? Thank you. Who gets this?
Just put it down there. Miss Becky.
Good morning. The word for today is beautiful. My open heart discovers beauty all around me. I see beauty in soaring mountains and rolling seas, in majestic forests and kaleidoscopic fields of wildflowers. I hear beauty in music, bird songs, and the laughter and conversations of people in fellowship. Searching beyond my senses, I discover a greater depth of beauty. The mundane items and landmarks I may take for granted take on a deeper beauty when my memories fill them with meaning. My dear ones become even more beautiful to me when I pause to remember our fondest experiences and the love that binds us. I move through each day with my mind and heart open. Now even the most ordinary items, places, and circumstances become more and more precious and beautiful to me. And from 2 Corinthians 3:18, and all of us, with unveiled faces, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into the same image.
My family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up in prayer.
So this is the time of our service where we consciously enter into an attitude of prayer. And I think we should focus this morning on the power of community and the power of this spiritual family of choice that comes together so beautifully to serve one another and the greater community. So let's take that deep within and celebrate the beauty of this family that supports one another, that loves one another, that creates this guilt, shame, judgment-free zone in a world that can sometimes feel harsh. We celebrate this safe space. We celebrate the love that people feel when they walk into this room. We celebrate the beauty that surrounds us in this sacred space. We celebrate how supportive this community is of one another. How we come together to celebrate the joyous times and love and uplift one another in times of sadness, in times of despair. We like to say that when our joys are celebrated, they are multiplied, and when our sadness is shared, it is diminished. And we have had so many opportunities over the last several years to demonstrate that truth. As we keep coming together and we keep going, and we hold on to that commitment to be love, to embrace that positive path for spiritual living. And so if you are in need of our compassion today, if you are in need of a physical or emotional or a spiritual hug today, we've got you. We love you. And as the song says so beautifully, we behold the Christ in each one of you. And if you are experiencing joy or gratitude for any reason this morning, we say, please share that. Send that through that golden web that we visualize that connects us all. Let's spread and sprinkle that environmentally safe glitter out into the world. One of the things that was a common theme yesterday was Bev's smile. And so in Bev's honor this week, let us smile at everyone we meet, everyone we pass on the street or stand in the checkout line with, or attend a Zoom meeting with, as we thank the Amazon driver every other day. We do it with a smile. And as always, we know in every cell of our being that together or apart, we are forever connected at the heart. And so it is. Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Oh, don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly, every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Oh, don't you think it's time?
Oh, don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Oh, love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Oh, don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Love that song. So, as I shared earlier, today is the power of love and the classic movie Casablanca. So we're going to talk about love, and then we're going to get into the movie. Has anyone not seen the movie? Well, I will do a very brief synopsis when we get to that point, and then I encourage you to watch the movie. Okay, so, oh, Ken is so disappointed back there, I can hear. He's back there shaking his head. So, according to Reverend David Williamson, who's done a lot of work around the 12 powers, the power of love is our ability to know oneness with all and to desire that only good comes to all. Notice that the word all is in there twice. Love heals, harmonizes, renews, prospers, and unites. Love is our ability to share and to draw together. Our consciousness of love casts out fear. So it's interesting because love, I think more than any of the other powers, is a power that we tend to think comes to us from other people, right? We tend to think that of love is something that people give us instead of something that we are. We also tend to think of love as something that we feel rather than the essential element in this great cosmic process of which we are all expressions. So love is a spiritual power that we have, that we are, and that we experience and express by loving. So what Reverend Williamson says is that the world needs now is not more love, but more loving. In other words, we need to stop looking at love as a noun and recognize that love is a verb. Reverend Eric Butterworth taught, you cannot give love to anyone, and no one can give love to you. You can be loving, which will create an environment in which others may find it easy to radiate and express love, and thus be loving to you. Love is not a commodity to give, but a process through which you touch and express your own deeper nature. Love, then, is not the plaything of the emotions or senses, but the action of divine law. And of course, we have to quote co-founder of the Unity Movement, Charles Fillmore, because after all, he discerned all of these powers. He says, we may talk about the wisdom of God, but the love of God must be felt in the heart. It cannot be described, and one who has not felt it can have no concept of it from the descriptions of others. The more we talk about love, the stronger it grows in the consciousness. If we persist in thinking loving thoughts and speaking loving words, we are sure to bring into our experience the feeling of that great love that is beyond description, the very love of God. So Don Miguel Ruiz, in addition to writing the 4 agreements, which we're going to be starting after next Sunday, the date has escaped me, he also wrote a wonderful book called The Mastery of Love. And it's full of Toltec wisdom. So if you've never read it, I highly recommend it. He says we can talk about love and write 1,000 books about it, but love will be completely different for each one of us because we have to experience love. So you notice there's a theme running through this. Love is not about concepts, love is about action. Love and action can only produce happiness. Fear and action can only produce suffering. The only way to master love is to practice love. You don't need to justify your love. You don't need to explain your love. You just need to practice your love. And practice creates the master. He continues, the teachings that come from India, from the Toltecs, the Christians, the Greeks, from societies all over the world come from the same truth. This refers to what we talked about when we talked about interfaith, that at the hub of all of these traditions and all of this wisdom is love. They talk about reclaiming your divinity and finding God within you. They talk about having your heart completely open and becoming wise. Can you imagine what kind of a world this would be if all humans opened their hearts and found the love inside? Of course we can do it. Everyone can do it in their own way. It's not about following any imposed ideas. It's about finding yourself. When you love with no conditions, you, the human, and you, the God, align with the spirit of life moving through you. Your life becomes the expression of the beauty of the Spirit. Life is nothing but a dream, and if you create your life with love, your dream becomes a masterpiece of art. I think it's so perfect that today's daily word was beautiful. And then finally, from Father Anthony DeMello, he says, how few understand what love really is and how it arises in the human heart. It is so frequently equated with good feelings toward others, with benevolence or nonviolence or service. But these things in themselves are not love. Love springs from awareness. It is only inasmuch as you see someone as he or she really is, here and now, and not as they are in your memory or your desire or in your imagination or your projection, that you can truly love them. Otherwise, it is not the person that you love, but the idea you have formed of this person, or this person is the object of your desire, not as he or she is in themselves. The first act of love is to see this person or this object, this reality, as it truly is. And this involves the enormous discipline of dropping your desires, your prejudices, your memories, your projections, your selective way of looking. A discipline so great that most people would rather plunge headlong into good actions and service rather than submit to the burning fire of this asceticism. When you set out to serve someone whom you have not taken the trouble to see, are you meeting that person's need or your own? So these guys don't hold back, do they? Powerful stuff. So remember Jesus' teaching when he was asked, what is the greatest commandment? And remember when the folks who were asking him that question were trying to trip him up because he kept breaking the rules, like healing on the Sabbath and eating with people who were unclean. And so they were trying to trick him. And so he answered, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So what if we were to love ourselves in the way described in 1 Corinthians, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. What if we were to be patient and kind with ourselves? What if we would stop comparing ourselves? What if we were to stop being irritable and harsh with ourselves? I'm sure the people that share our life would really enjoy that. If you remember what we learned when we studied The Happiness Project, Gretchen Rubin's amazing book, happy people are much more likely to be loving, to be generous, to be positive and grateful, and to be supportive of others. So what if we were willing to love ourselves unconditionally instead of I'll be happy when I love myself when? I'll be happy and I'll love myself when? What fills in your blank there? When I lose weight? When I make more money? When my teeth are whiter? When I'm in a relationship? When I'm not in a relationship? So what's your condition? What's your blank? Because whatever you would fill in that blank with is what's holding your love and your acceptance of yourself hostage. Okay, so that leads us to Casablanca. Now, I have 2 pages of notes about Casablanca that I'm not going to share. I'm going to do the very, very brief version of it so we can get into the good stuff. So Casablanca is a movie that was made in about 1940-ish. It takes place in 1941 in Casablanca. Rick Blaine is the lead. It played by Humphrey Bogart. He owns Rick's Cafe American. There are many interesting characters that frequent his cafe, including Vichy French and Nazi German officials, and they are drinking at the bar right next to refugees who are desperate to reach the United States or to Portugal. So in order to do that, you had to have a letter of transit. The only way you could get out of Casablanca was to have a letter of transit. And so they were in high demand. And so the movie starts with 2 letters of transit being stolen from German officers after they were killed. Those letters of transit end up in Rick's possession. So Rick, we notice right away, is a bit cynical, a bit cranky. We don't really know why until his former lover, Ilsa Lund, played by Ingrid Bergman, walks in, and she asks Sam, the pianist, to play As Time Goes By. And we see Rick flying over to Sam, demanding to know why he is playing this song that Rick has forbidden him from ever playing. And so our curiosity is piqued, and then the flashback begins. And we see Rick and Ilsa and Sam in Paris. Rick and Ilsa are obviously in love, but the Nazis are moving in, and it's time for them to flee. We see Rick in the rain at the train station with a letter from Ilsa saying that she can't meet him. Sam drags his friend onto the train to save him from the encroaching Nazis, and they head out. And so we realize that his cynicism comes from believing that Ilsa had abandoned him and that she had left him not at the altar, but at the train station. So she shows up with Victor Laszlo, who is a resistance fighter, has already spent time in a concentration camp in France, and the German colonel, Strasser, does not want Victor to leave Casablanca. In fact, he'd be very happy if he would die in Casablanca, because Victor Laszlo has a huge following among not just the French resistance, but the European resistance. There's a beautiful scene, and this is actually going to be one of your clips today, of a time in Rick's Cafe where the Germans start to sing Die Wacht am Rhein, and Laszlo orders the house band to play La Marseillaise. And pretty soon the entire room is drowning out the Nazis with the French national anthem. So later, Ilsa confronts Rick and says, please, please, please give us those letters of transit. We've got to get Victor out of here. Rick has really tied one on and doesn't want to hear it. So later on, Victor Laszlo, Ilsa's husband, shows up and also begs Rick for the letters of transit, saying he'll pay anything to get his wife, particularly his wife, out of Casablanca. And Rick, in his bitterness, when Laszlo says, "Why won't you help us?" Rick looks at him and says, "Ask your wife." And so we see the cynical, bitter Rick. Now, eventually, Rick is willing to listen to Ilsa. She shows up in his room. She actually tries to threaten him with a gun. Doesn't work. She dissolves into tears and professes that she still loves him. And she tells him what had happened in Paris. And what had happened in Paris is that the day she was supposed to leave with him, she had gotten notified that her husband, Victor Laszlo, who she believed had died in that French concentration camp, was in fact still alive and was gravely ill, and they needed her to come and help to nurse him back to health. She didn't want to tell Rick that because she was afraid Rick would stay in Paris and be captured by the Germans. So she sacrificed her happiness and believed she was keeping Rick safe. So that is a theme that does permeate the movie, but we'll get to that in a minute. So she begs Rick to get Victor out of Casablanca, so that he can be safe. Meanwhile, again, Victor's been in a meeting and has been shot, and when he goes back to the cafe, he's begging Rick to get Ilsa out of Casablanca. Again, we see this sacrifice as an overwhelming theme in the movie. And so Rick tricks the officer, Renault, Louis Renault, who is a comically corrupt a police officer. He tricks Renault into signing letters of transit, not for he and Ilsa, but for Victor and Ilsa to escape from Casablanca. And you're going to see that short little clip too. So, why this movie for the power of love? Not just because Ken and I love it. We actually have a poster of Casablanca in our bedroom of Rick looking adoringly at Ilsa saying, "Here's looking at you, kid." The romantic aspects of love are obvious, right? It's not just Rick's and Victor's deep love for Ilsa, it's Ilsa's love for both of them, right? She is genuinely tormented by this. We also see the love between friends, Rick and Sam, man, sticking together through thick and thin. The staff at Rick's Cafe, who have obvious affection for one another and truly love Rick. And then ultimately, spoiler, the friendship that develops between Rick and Officer Renault as they both rediscover their love of freedom and their country. So we see the love of that country, we see the love of justice, we see the love of freedom, and we see the love of truth in this movie. We see love demonstrating as loyalty, commitment, and ultimately sacrifice. So that sacrifice is a reoccurring theme in the movie. Ilsa sacrifices the love she feels for Rick when she finds out that Victor is alive and is near death. We see the young Bulgarian bride, you remember that scene? Who's willing to sacrifice herself to Inspector Renault, the dirtbag, in order to save her husband and to escape to America. We see those desperate to leave sacrificing their beloved possessions. We see Victor willing to sacrifice himself in order to gain Ilsa's freedom, and Ilsa willing to sacrifice herself to gain Victor's freedom. And then in the end, we see Renault, Inspector Renault, who has not been a very likable character up till now, sacrificing his job in order to protect Rick from being arrested. And ultimately, we see Rick sacrificing his happiness, releasing Ilsa to go with her husband because it was for the greater good. So this reminded me again of what we heard from Father DeMello, that the first act of love is to see this person or this object, this reality, as it truly is. That's letting go of our memories and our projections. Rick had been so consumed with hurt and with resentment about what had happened in Paris, or what he thought had happened, that he couldn't even see Ilse when she first appeared in the cafe, although the lighting and that shot was amazing. He was being held hostage by his past. All right, remember, what is it that what is in our blank that is holding us hostage to not experiencing love? He was seeing her through his memories and through his projections of what he thought was her betrayal of him. He had to become willing to open his heart and really hear her story. And then he could see her again as the woman that he loved. And because he loved her, he was willing to let her go. And this reminded me of this beautiful wisdom from Marianne Williamson, where she says, "Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we have learned here. The spiritual journey is the unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. We are not held back by the love that we didn't receive in the past. We are held back by the love we're not giving in the present and the future." So he wasn't being held back by the love he didn't get in the past. He was being held back by refusing to give in to the present. And it was only when he was willing to let Ilse back into his life that he was able to reconnect with that loving part of himself, to fight for what was right and what was noble. This goes back to the power of love is our ability to know oneness with all and to desire that only good comes to all. He knew that what was best for Ilse and Victor was for them to continue their fight together against this regime. And so that's time for our first clip.
Man.
Are you enough of a businessman to appreciate an offer of 100,000 francs?
I appreciate it, but I don't accept it.
I'll raise it to 200,000.
My friend, you could make it 1,000,000 francs at 3. My answer would still be the same.
There must be some reason why you won't let me have them.
There is. I suggested you ask your wife.
I beg your pardon?
I said, ask your wife.
My wife?
Yes.
what I mean? If Laszlo's presence in a cafe can inspire this unfortunate demonstration, what more will his presence in Casablanca bring on? I advise that this place be shut up at once.
But everybody's having such a good time.
Yes, much too good a time. The place is to be closed.
But I've no excuse to close it.
Find one.
Everybody is to leave here immediately. This cafe is closed until further notice. Clear the room at once.
How can they close me up? On what ground?
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Let's save that one.
Mademoiselle, after this disturbance, it is not safe for Laszlo to stay in Casablanca.
Pause that one.
This morning,
Okay. So what Ilsa he was saying that it's not safe for Victor to be in Casablanca, and Ilsa was standing up to him and saying, well, just this morning you were telling me it wasn't safe for him to leave Casablanca, right? So I love that scene. Did you notice the look on Inspector Renault's face as he was listening to the Nazis singing their anthem, and then he looked up at Rick and Victor, kind of like, what are you going to do about this, right? And then we saw what they did about it. And we see that crack in Rick's cynicism. So I think that scene really illustrates the character of so many of the main players. Victor's love for Ilsa and his passion for the resistance. Renault's ambiguity, because we also see a crack in Renault. Rick's very silent support when he nodded yes, because you notice the band looked at him like, okay, are we going to get in trouble here? Ilsa's strength, the courage of the band and the staff in the face of that intimidation and force. And I do love the "here are your winnings, sir" at the very end, which, you know, points to the hypocrisy of that intimidation. So there was an interesting side note in the cast, and this is one of the reasons I think that this movie has such meaning for us. There were only 3 Americans playing all of the roles in this movie. Only 3. The rest of the cast, both the starring and supportive, were from outside of the US. And several of the German and French actors had been persecuted by the Nazi regime before escaping Germany during the war. Wikipedia says this: much of the emotional impact of the film for the audience in 1942 has been attributed to the large proportion of European exiles and refugees who were extras or who played minor roles, in addition to leading actors Paul Heinrich, Conrad Veidt, and Peter Lorre, such as Louis V. Arco, Trudy Berlinger, Ilka Grunig, Ludwig Stossel, Hans Heinrich von Twardowski, I love that name, and Wolfgang Zilzer. A witness to the filming of the Duel of the Anthems sequence said he saw many of the actors crying and realized they were all real refugees. Harmitz argues that, quote, they brought to a dozen small roles in Casablanca an understanding and a desperation that could never have come from central casting. And even though many were Jewish or refugees from the Nazis or both, they were frequently cast as Nazis in various war films because of their accents. The actor who played Colonel Strasser was one of those who had to escape Germany. He was a very famous German actor, but he was also part of the resistance, and so he was on the Nazi hit list. And they had to smuggle him out of Germany and into the United States in order to save his life. And when he first read the script, he went to the writers and the producers, and he said, you've gotten Colonel Strasser wrong. He's not nearly evil enough. And so they rewrote his part per his instructions and his experience with true Nazi colonels. So the scene also shows that crack in Rick, that juxtaposition of the cynical Rick who refused to help Victor, and then when he allowed the band to play the French national anthem. So we see what Rick is capable of when he opens his heart, of his integrity and his nobility that's restored by the end of the movie. So that brings back the question, what's holding us back? What memory or wound or belief is holding us hostage from fully experiencing love, just like Rick was being held back? And so as we watch the movie, we want to ask ourselves, are we Rick at the beginning of the movie, or are we Rick at the end of the movie? And so now we're going to see the end of the movie.
Louis, have your man go with Mr. Laszlo and take care of his luggage.
Certainly, Rick. Anything you say. Find Mr. Laszlo's luggage and put it on the plane.
Yes, sir. This way. If you don't mind, you fill in the names. That'll make it even more official.
You think of everything, don't you?
And the names are Mr. and Mrs. Victor Laszlo.
But why my name, Richard?
Because you're getting on that plane.
I don't understand. What about you?
I'm staying here with him till the plane gets safely away.
No, Richard, no. What has happened to you last night?
Last night we said a great many things. You said I was to do the thinking for both of us. Well, I've done a lot of it since then. It all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But, Richard, no,
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here? 9 chances out of 10, we'd both wind up at a concentration camp. Isn't that true, Louis?
I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
you're saying this only to make me go.
I'm saying it because it's true. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. It's worth the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris. We didn't have, we lost it until you came to Casablanca. We got it back last night.
And I said I would never leave you.
And you never will. But I've got a job to do, too. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What I've got to do, you can't be any part of. Ilsa, I'm no good at being noble. But it doesn't take much to see that the problems of 3 little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Someday you'll understand that. Now. He's looking at you, kid.
Oh, right. So I have to disagree with Rick. I think he was very noble in that moment. I think he got it down. I think he reclaimed his memories and his love for Ilsa when he allowed himself to love again. And I thought it was interesting that when he allowed himself to love again, he also reclaimed his passion for freedom and for justice. And if you go to the very end of the movie, after he shoots and kills Major Strasser, the Inspector Renault really comes into his fullness and he doesn't arrest him. And the two of them walk off into the fog. And that's when Bogey says that famous line, "Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." So some of the classic lines from the movie were actually not in the script. They were Bogey ad-libbing. And the producers loved it so much they kept it in. Here's looking at you, kid, that last line. They also, the actors did not know what the ending was going to be. They had multiple endings. And they didn't get the script until the day of shooting. So they didn't know who was going to get on that plane until the very end. So questions, comments. If you have not watched the movie, and now I know who you are, it's worth it. Questions about love or the movie? Yes.
Is that why Ken calls us kids?
Is that why? Yeah. Oh, the question was, is that why Ken calls us kids? No, but I will tell you it is part of the, in our experience with the theater community, the directors tend to call the actors kids, which I will tell you always drives me crazy, but because they're not. But yeah, that's not why he does it. Why do you do it? Oh, because everybody he plays with is a kid. Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get to take him home. Okay. Anybody else before we move into meditation? Thank you for letting me share my love of these films with you. I find spirit in everything. To me, there's nothing that's not spiritual, because we are spiritual, right? And I think when we can find spirit and wisdom in old movies and new movies and songs and poems and stories, that we reinforce that inner spirit, right? I will say that now Ken thinks I need to do a whole new 12 Powers series with 12 new movies. That's not going to happen. I'm just saying that maybe when I retire and I have time, I'll write a new series. This series has been shared with the Unity Movement, and by all accounts, folks love it. So, yeah. All right. Let's move into meditation, Miss Kate.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
And so we breathe in that beautiful message, and we take it into our hearts. We allow it to spread into every cell of our being. As we acknowledge and accept and embrace that we are love. And how much we demonstrate that love, how much we share that love, is in direct proportion to whatever is in our blank. What is holding us back from loving ourselves, from loving one another, from loving our journey? What if we could look back on our lives with love and acceptance and gratitude instead of regret or guilt or sadness? What if we could see that everything in our lives has brought us here? to this now moment? What if we could love ourselves and our lives exactly as they are? And if change is needed, we allow it to flow from that place of love. No shoulda, woulda, or couldas allowed. So like Rick, are we willing to allow that cynical armor to be cracked, to feel love, to express love, to share love, to see that maybe we got the story wrong, the story that shut down our love. Maybe the love was there all along, and we just couldn't see it or feel it. And so we ask ourselves, do we want to be Rick at the beginning of the movie? Or do we want to be Rick at the end? Where he finally discovered, where he finally saw that there is only love.
There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There's only love. There's only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There's only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Thank you, that was beautiful. So this is the time of our service where we do not pass the basket. We just get to express incredible gratitude for your generosity, for the sharing of your time, your talent, and your treasure, and for your ongoing commitment to make this a world that works for all. Thank you.
This day and age we're living in brings calls for apprehension with speed and new invention and things like third dimension. Yet we get a trifle weary with Mr. Einstein's theory. So we must get down to earth at times, relax, relieve the tension. No matter what the progress or what may yet be proved, the simple facts of life are such they cannot be removed. You must remember this: a kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply. goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you, on that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight love songs, never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. That no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
So Kate, I just want to say I would not have gotten through the last 2 weeks without you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Janie is coming back this week. Then we will welcome her with love and hugs and compassion for the loss of her beloved father. And I'm just so grateful to all of you for being here. Just awesomeness. Let's stand and share in our unity blessing.
Were we going to do birthdays?
After unity blessing.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We will not forget birthdays, I promise. All righty, together. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in each and every one of you. And I think Cassie wanted to be in the room for the birthday song, but I don't know where she is. So I'll talk for 10 more seconds. I did want to share with you guys that someone was at the service yesterday who watches us online, and she says, I'm one of your ethers people. I love it when you say out in the ethers. She said, I love being an ethers person. Okay, no more stalling. We're going to sing the birthday song. You ready?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very long list, guys, so yeah. Okay.
Okay.
God.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cassie, Helene, Owen, Charles, Stephanie, Karen, Linda, Leonard, and Vicky. Yay! Woo! Happy birthday to you and many more. Yay! Thanks for the help, guys. All right, and now let's sing the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace
but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Happy birthday. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well. Amen. Go forth and be the incredibly beautiful expressions of love that you are. And join us downstairs. We have fellowship and coffee and yumminess.
Yummy. Yummy. Oh.
It works. It's the old-fashioned way.
Hey, do you remember your phone?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
And I
I created a pocket.
Okay.
Brilliant
Good.
idea.